in a land where gathering together isn't currently possible, where traditions may have to be put on hold, there is hope. Traditions can continue. Connections can be made.
Helping a child make sense of their life experiences is very important work, and it's one of the reasons why I do what I do here at COBYS. It takes one caring, invested person to foster resiliency in the life of a child. A COBYS worker can be that person, that connection for a child, and change their lives forever.
I just met a child on my caseload for the first time since being placed in one of our COBYS resource homes. The goal of this initial meeting is to introduce myself to the child and the resource family, get to know them, and ensure the child's safety. With the many changes and transitions leading up to this interaction, all involved may feel overwhelmed. But I want them to know that I'm there to support them and create a safe space for their voices to be heard.
The services we provide at COBYS and through placement services matter. Our work makes a real difference in the lives of children, and it gives us the opportunity to do something positive in situations where there are many heartbreaking things happening to children and families.
Resource parents help children believe that they are worthy of love and protection, and they encourage birth parents towards growth and healing. This daily investment by resource parents has an eternal impact.
We can have compassion for their story, not pity. We can serve them better when we see them as our neighbor, giving them honor. We cannot change their story for them, but we can serve them through humility, love, honor, and dignity. I imagine this is how God sees us. Knowing all of our flaws, He approaches us with love and dignity and honor. He humbled Himself for our sake.
So we will continue to serve folks in whatever way that we need to, whether it's virtually or in person. And we are just grateful for this opportunity that we're continuing to be able to support families and individuals on their journey.
We're proud of the opportunities we provide for children and adults to work toward health and healing. Continuing our tradition of excellence in service delivery, therapists are receiving training in ethics and best practices of teletherapy, since this is a type of service delivery that we hope will continue long after the pandemic.
I've seen kids who are weighed down with guilt, feeling that it was their fault they were placed into foster care, realize that it wasn't anything that they did, and it wasn't their fault, and they were freed from that.
And so he's like, okay, so your reason is Jesus, so really getting plugged in with an organization that really, kind of centers on Christ's love for others would make sense. And I said, yeah, that does make sense.
It's go time.
Good evening and welcome to the COBYS Family Services Annual Banquet. Coming to you through live stream from the beautiful lobby of the COBYS Murray Hill Center office, I'm Mark Cunningham, Executive Director, and with me is Ann Stokes, Director of Development. We're hosting this year's virtual banquet, our first ever virtual one, where our theme is Connections. Now, having a theme based on connections might seem a little strange since we aren't connecting in our usual face-to-face banquet way. We aren't gathered around tables enjoying Gene Wanger's ham loaf, chicken, and each other's company. But while it's true we can't greet you individually and reach out and shake your hand, we hope this presentation will be just as meaningful to you and that we can maintain and enhance the connections you have with COBYS. For us, it starts with our mission statement, which is, motivated by Christian faith, COBYS Family Services educates, supports, and empowers children and adults to reach their full potential. Our goal during this banquet is to show you how, in living out our core mission, we continue to connect in real and meaningful ways to those we serve and to help make their lives better.
For those of you who choose to be proactive with some of your support for this year's banquet by making a reservation before tonight, kind of like reserving a table at past banquets. You have received some goodies for doing so. We hope you enjoy your ready-to-eat and cook Jean Wanger's ham loaf, whoopie pies, and other COBYS gifts.
We would like to start a banquet, as we do every year, with an invocation. Will you please join me in a moment of prayer? Dear God, while we are missing being at the Middle Creek Church together, we are thankful for technology that allows us to connect virtually. I'm thankful for all of these people watching, those people that are interested and partnering with us with our mission to kids and families. And we pray for these kids and families that they may experience healing and wholeness along their journey. And so for this next hour, God, I ask that the things that we do and say will bring you honor and glory. And I ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Mark. So here we go. Let's start making some connections. If you've seen any messages from COBYS over the last year or so, you know us connecting with you. You've heard us reference our delivery of services with compassion, dignity, and hope. What we mean by that is that COBYS, we go beyond providing basic services to those we serve. But what does that mean?
Well, let's try to connect the dots to create a clearer picture. Many of you are familiar with the adoption and foster care, counseling, and family life education work that we do at COBYS. But for those of you who are new, or as a simple reminder, here's what all of those things boil down to. We are called to serve when life gets messy for kids, families, or individuals. We all know and have experienced times in our lives when life is hard. Sometimes people need a little help. Sometimes there is a need for a lot of help. Sometimes people make really bad decisions, and those bad decisions can result in people falling into addiction or engaging in child neglect or abuse or other disruptive behaviors that negatively affect the family. Unfortunately, children often innocently suffer the consequences of those bad decisions. So we provide safety and hope to these affected kids and families. We walk with them to move to a better future in whatever form that better future is. And we provide our services with, and here it is, the compassion and dignity all God's children deserve. It is the way, the attitude, and the empathy with which we serve. That's what we're called to do, whether those we serve need a little help or a lot of help.
COBYS has been providing these services delivered in this way for more than 40 years. Tonight, we'd like to show you some glimpses, practical examples of how we do that, how we connect with our clients, with each other as staff, and connect to our faith. To begin, we want to share some reflections that demonstrate the kind of organization COBYS is, the character of our staff. Just as we advocate for kids to find permanency and to strengthen families, we are mindful of connecting with one another as staff members.
So, as an example of this, I would like to share a few thoughts one of our permanency caseworkers wrote about her coworkers and shared with the entire COBYS organization. She writes, "I work with a group of amazing people who give themselves unselfishly to serve others and to serve each other. How can a group of people be this wonderful and amazing? My colleagues strive to be Christ-like. Their love for what they do, the compassion and empathy that they display for their clients and for one another is incredible. Because of this, I am inspired to be a better person. My colleagues empower me. I am blessed and thankful to have met and worked with these wonderful people. It never ceases to amaze me of the amount of love that they have in their hearts, and they never grow tired of serving others or serving me. Thank you for your love, your friendship, your kindness, and your support."
That's an amazing testament to our staff. Every time I hear it, it inspires me.
So we know that our donors understand and appreciate those connections that help us foster the kind of work we do with our clients. Not only our clients, but for each other as well.
As we planned this event, we found that hosting a virtual banquet presents a whole new set of opportunities and challenges to highlight connections.
Right. So we came up with electrical cords as a physical connection that makes sense to all of us. I once planted a light bulb hoping I would get a power plant, so it's pretty clear that I don't fully understand how electricity works. But I do know how important making sure things are connected so that...
Mark!
So sorry, I was saying it's important to make sure things are connected so that things don't go horribly wrong at the worst possible moment.
As I was saying, planning a virtual banquet gives us the opportunity to show you an inside look at our ministries and connect you to some staff members you might not see at a typical banquet presentation. We hope to show you what your sustaining support allows us to do, and that you'll remain as committed as ever to the work we are doing together. So let's start with personal connections. Fewer connections are more personal than that between a client and therapist. With a general increased awareness about the importance of mental health issues in recent years, our therapists in the COBYS Counseling Center have been busy helping so many people work towards healing. And that was before a pandemic and the increased stress that it has caused for everyone. COBYS Counseling Department grew this past year and provided thousands of hours of individual and group services. Many of our therapists also received expert training in trauma therapy. Counseling success comes in many forms. Sometimes it's the growth of individuals. Sometimes it's getting help in a group program. There are many issues and the need for care is real. COBYS is responding to that need.
Hi, my name's Alyssa Roberts, and I'm a therapist here at COBYS Family Services. This is what teletherapy looks like in a very unusual year, and we're so thankful for the opportunity to provide it to all of our clients. I am currently working towards state licensure in Pennsylvania, and I'm so thankful that we have received a grant that is providing the financial means to do so as I work towards that. I think when I think of the past year, I think of the hope and healing that's taken place in families that I've worked with, in relationships between parents and children, between spouses, and I just believe in the work that we do each and every day.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, yes. I'm just so thankful for you and the work that you are doing and the work that the other therapists are doing for our clients.
Well, thanks, Mark.
I'm just trying to, this room, it actually seems pretty comfortable doing it this way. I can see how clients would be comfortable with this.
Well, this is what you'd see. But yeah. Mark, I am getting ready for another client in a moment. I wasn't expecting you.
Well, I'll let you get back to that. Thanks again for what you're doing. Talk to you later, Alyssa. Bye-bye.
See you, Mark. See you. Through teletherapy, you will find that we are able to provide evidence-based treatments and maintaining the same level of quality as we would otherwise, while also making sure that confidentiality is a priority. And so we're thankful that in the midst of a lot of things that are different, that this is a good kind of different.
Yeah, it's a little tough being at two places at one time. I'm glad I dropped in on Alyssa to learn a little bit about what a counseling session looks like these days. You know who else knows a whole lot about our counseling program? Abby Kaiser. She has been leading our counseling program for nearly 10 years. Let's see what Abby has to tell us.
Hi, I'm Abby Kaiser, Director of Family Life Services. Right now, COBYS counseling clients are experiencing a 6 to 8 month waiting list to see our therapists, so the need for counseling and therapy is great. And COBYS has more therapists than we've ever had. 2 new therapists are seeing clients and working toward licensure. To give you an idea of the ever-increasing need, our therapists saw 220 new clients last year in addition to their existing ones, while delivering more than 7,300 total client hours in the year. Continuing our tradition of excellence in service delivery, therapists are receiving training in ethics and best practices of teletherapy, since this is a type of service delivery that we hope will continue long after the pandemic. While there is a real need for trauma therapy for people, we strive to see clients with a range of needs, so our therapists don't get overwhelmed providing just one type of care. Providing therapy is an emotionally demanding profession, and as our therapists support each other as well as our clients while being encouraged to take self-care seriously. When people are on the waiting list for counseling, there are a number of other connections these clients can make to get a head start on healing. COBYS offers several support groups through our family life education programming to teach coping skills and techniques until individual therapies can occur. These support groups include behavioral consultations for our resource families with foster children placed in their home to help address specific challenging behaviors. Seeking Safety, a support group for adults providing and maintaining good coping skills to those who have dealt with trauma and/or substance use. Our Dyna small group therapy program for children ages 4 to 8 with challenging behaviors. The Blues program for adolescents dealing with mild depression and anxiety. And our kinship support and education to individuals raising a relative's child through weekly sessions and monthly workshops, as well as one-on-one consultations. We certainly like to provide most services in person when possible, but an upside to providing services virtually over the last several months is that we have found that some things like kinship support actually have higher engagement virtually because the adults do not have to arrange childcare. We're proud of the opportunities we provide for children and adults to work toward health and healing.
As you heard from Abby, COBYS tries our best to provide as many options for care to those seeking assistance as possible. We know the importance of mental health care and don't want people to be waiting for care any longer than necessary. Abby referenced several support groups that provide hope and the opportunity to move toward healing for individuals. These groups also offer care while people are waiting for personal counseling. These groups and many other classes for adults and children are overseen by our Family Life Education team. Here is Holly Harton to tell you more.
Hi, everyone. I am Holly Harden. I'm the supervisor of the Family Life Education Department. Like many other people, we had to quickly shift how we were delivering our classes in March of 2020. And like many other people, we moved to the Zoom platform. There has been a real silver lining to delivering our classes and services virtually on Zoom. We are able to reach people that we were not able to reach before. For example, parents in the evening coming to a parenting class. Many of our folks were reluctant or unable to come because of logistical reasons. So now, instead of having to rush home from work, quickly feed the children, loading them all up into the car or stroller, walking or taking what's often a long car ride into the city during rush hour, they're able to simply log on to their computer or their phone and take classes from home. So this has opened the door to us serving more people simply because they are able to easily access our services. For example, we have a single dad who was able to take our Seeking Safety group over his lunch break at work in a private spot. We also have a pregnant mom on bed rest who is able, with twins, who is able to attend our parenting classes, and she would not have been able to come otherwise. So we will continue to serve folks in whatever way that we need to, whether it's virtually or in person, and we are just grateful for this opportunity that we're continuing to be able to support families and individuals on their journey.
Well, hi, Holly. How are you?
Oh, hi, Mark. Doing well.
Good, good, good. Hey, what time does class start?
Well, I'm not doing a class right now. Right now, I'm just talking about how the Family Life Education Department has kind of modified our services in order to continue to serve people during this pandemic.
Oh, I see. Well, thanks for sharing. I was hoping to maybe say hi to you and the rest of the class and maybe even Wally from the Dyna series. But if you're wrapping up, I guess I'll get back. So thanks again, Holly.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you later, Mark.
All right, see ya.
So you see, COBYS is still directly connecting with the people we serve in counseling and family life education.
Yeah, I saw that firsthand.
Our connections continue in all the other departments too. And while we have made many adaptations to services across the organization this past year, what we continue to focus on most is the strength of important bonds, just as we have in the past and will continue to do in the future. We talk about our walking alongside our kids and families on their journey through foster care and potentially adoption process. We do that with a commitment and empathy for those we serve. We strive to provide a Christ-like sense of servanthood to help guide and support them along the way. Knowing it is just as important to provide guidance and support to our staff as it is to our clients, COBYS developed 26 fundamentals to help us stay focused on our mission. Each of the fundamentals relates to one of our 5 core values, which forms the acronym LIFTS. Life is sacred, integrity, faith, teamwork, and servanthood. For nearly 2 years, the leadership team and other staff have been writing weekly reflections on these fundamentals to remind and inspire the entire staff of the importance of carrying out our work through these principles.
Ruby Nolt is one of our permanency unit supervisors, and in her reflection, she described how we try to put into action the fundamental of practice humility as part of our core value of servanthood.
Hi, I'm Ruby Nolt, one of the supervisors of the COBYS Permanency Unit. For the COBYS core value of servanthood and the identified fundamentals of practice humility, the Bible teaches us. In Philippians 2:3, we read, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself." In our line of work, we often get to know people based on their problem, diagnoses, or reasons for their involvement with our agency prior to ever meeting them face to face. We already know their history, what they've done wrong, their mental status or capacity, information about their most vulnerable intricacies. On a given day, we are faced with thinking of ourselves better than we really are, as we have the advantage just simply because we are in the position opposite to them. We do not have to come to the table with our wounds laid out. In fact, we even tend to get flustered if we are asked personal questions from our clients we work with. We feel violated and vulnerable. As a supervisor, I feel my main role is to help my caseworkers to see the parents and kids we work with as people, as someone who has purpose and a story. To imagine if we were on the other side of the table, with all of our wounds laid out before someone else. To listen, to not prejudge based on what we read on paper. I believe if we can look each person in the eye and really hear them, we can serve them well. We can have compassion for their story, not pity. We can serve them better when we see them as our neighbor, giving them honor. We cannot change their story for them, but we can serve them through humility, love, honor, and dignity. I imagine this is how God sees us. Knowing all of our flaws, He approaches us with love and dignity and honor. He humbled Himself for our sake. The challenge for us is to see those we serve as equal, to love them as we would want to be loved. Talk to them as if we were in their situation. How would we hear someone well? Think also how humiliating and humbling it might be to be the one sitting before us. We can make a difference in that moment. I am humbled myself by this challenge. Proverbs 11:25 says, "The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." At COBYS, that is what we strive to do every day.
Ruby eloquently summed up how we try to go about our jobs and everyday tasks in service delivery to our clients. Let's see what some of those tasks look like in the foster care and adoption units.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Sorber, Director of Placement Services. COBYS has 3 units related to foster care: permanency, resource home coordinators, and the foster care unit. We also have an adoption unit overseeing all things related to adoption, including post-permanency programs and kinship-related programs. All of these units are interconnected and work in cooperation to walk the journey with our clients. For example, a child and family may first be assigned to COBYS through the permanency unit. Some of those cases make their way to our foster care unit, where the children may be fostered with a COBYS resource family, approved and supported by our resource home coordinators. There are multiple opportunities to connect with other COBYS departments and programs as led by the court and caseworkers. The services we provide at COBYS and through placement services matter. Our work makes a real difference in the lives of children, and it gives us the opportunity to do something positive in situations where there are many heartbreaking things happening to children and families. I've been working at COBYS for 30 years. I love this organization and all that it stands for. The people at COBYS work here because they share a common goal of ensuring the safety of vulnerable children. Through my work to meet this goal, I have the opportunity to connect my work and faith serving Jesus in a meaningful way. Here are a few examples of our caring frontline employees.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Roberts. I'm a foster care caseworker at COBYS Family Services. I just met a child on my caseload for the first time since being placed in one of our COBYS resource homes. The goal of this initial meeting is to introduce myself to the child and the resource family, get to know them, and ensure the child's safety. With the many changes and transitions leading up to this interaction, all involved may feel overwhelmed. But I want them to know that I'm there to support them and create a safe space for their voices to be heard. While working with them, I communicate what's happening in the case and provide answers, understanding, and support through the ups and downs of foster care. Another important connection in this process is with birth parents. I invite them to appointments the child has, provide updates on how the child's doing, and work to develop trust with them. So while I'm not working with them on their court-ordered plans, I want them to know that I support them and value their opinions. I was the caseworker for a case where the children were in care for several years, and by developing these connections, I was a support, consistent relationship, and familiar face for the resource families, the children, and the birth parents throughout the case. I had another case where the birth mother had a strained relationship with the resource family, but after the children were reunified with her, she wrote a letter to COBYS thanking the resource family for treating her with respect, even when she did not always show respect to them. And with another case, a birth parent called me with concerns and thanked me for taking the time to listen. So while I can't always change a situation, I can at least lend a listening ear. Building relationships with the child, the resource family, and the birth family is vital in working toward the best possible outcome for all involved.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm a foster care caseworker at COBYS Family Services. When court is able to occur in person, caseworkers come here to the courthouse for regularly scheduled hearings. There are multiple hearings that occur during the time that a child is in foster care. The court and the local Children and Youth Agency come up with a plan for the child's birth parents, often with the goal of reunification. These court hearings provide an opportunity for the judge to determine if the parents are making progress on their goal, and as well as to see how the child is doing in the resource home and in general. My role as a caseworker is to be here to support the resource family and the child, as court can often be a confusing and difficult experience. I might also have the opportunity to share with the court how the child is doing if I'm asked. I might be able to share how the child's doing at school, their interactions with the resource family and their birth family, and any services they're participating in. It's important that I share information that is accurate, and also that I always make sure that we're sharing things that are in the best interest of the child. I had the opportunity to be present at a court hearing for an older youth that I was working with. He had the opportunity to share directly with the judge and the court about how he was doing and what he would like to see in his future. I was proud of this youth for having the courage to advocate for himself And I was also glad to see that the court took the time to hear information from the child's perspective.
Hi, my name is Morgan Spencer, foster care caseworker for COBYS Family Services. As you can see, we're recording this meeting via Zoom because this is how many of my meetings with my resource families and kiddos have been happening over the past year. Each month, I'm required to meet with each child on my caseload at least twice a month. These meetings allow me to ensure the child's continued safety, receive any necessary updates, assess their progress and strengths, and talk to them about any concerns or needs the family or child may have. These meetings also allow me to build continued connection with the family and child. Building connection via Zoom can be easy at times and also challenging. Some of the kids we work with really enjoy talking to us over video. Some of them really don't like it. And some of the younger ones can tend to be in and out of the screen because it's harder for them to stay concentrated and focused. We do our best to be creative and maintain the connections we've already been building with our clients. One way I found that really worked with one of the kiddos I'm working with is by telling the child some jokes during our Zoom call. I knew this child really enjoyed listening and hearing jokes, so I made it a point to Google some jokes before the call so that I would be prepared to talk with this child during the meeting. We were able to spend about 10 minutes going back and forth, sharing jokes and laughing with each other. This was a really easy way for me to build my connection with the child, because I hope that having these fun interactions allows the child to get to know me better so that they feel comfortable with me talking about maybe some heavier topics in the future. That was a very quick overview of part of my job. I hope that was helpful.
Well, hi, Morgan.
Hi, Mark.
How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so thankful for you and the other caseworkers and everybody else involved that needs to be very flexible and open to meeting via Zoom with everybody. Morgan, I was wondering, do you feel like there's actually maybe fewer distractions when you meet via Zoom with some of the kids?
Not sure about that, Mark, but I can see a very big distraction right now.
All right, Morgan, I am picking up what you are laying down. Hey, I'll let you get back to work. Thanks again for all you're doing. See you, Morgan.
Bye, Mark.
You see, nothing about foster care is really easy. Something has gone tragically wrong with the biological family. The child is typically caught in the middle, and the resource family, while answering God's calling, is also entering into potential disruption in their lives. These are situations fraught with problems. Yet, there is room for good, for healing, for growth, for potential new beginnings. So we do the work, the hard work, to get to those new beginnings.
One potential new beginning is when adoption is determined to be the best solution for children. Once that is decided, our adoption unit takes over services.
I'm Melanie Rankin, one of the adoption coordinators here at COBYS Family Services. Many people view adoption as the end of the journey for an adopted child, but in reality, it's just the end of a chapter. Adoption is the start of a lifelong journey, and that journey may have included child preparation services, and will always include child profiles, filing of a lot of paperwork, and finalization hearings. The journey could continue with post-adoption services and support. All these steps and engagements are connections, and COBYS is here for all of it. I've been part of COBYS for the last 19 years. I believe very strongly in the work that we do here and the services that we provide to children and families. I believe that what we do makes a lasting impact in people's lives. In the adoption department, we have the unique opportunity to not only work with families that are approved through COBYS, but also resource parents through several different county children and youth agencies. Doing this allows us to make connections in many ways and extend the ministry of COBYS to countless families in the region. We provide several different services in the adoption unit. One I want to highlight is child preparation. Through this service, we work directly with children to help them understand what's happened in their lives, why they need to be in foster care, and help them gain an understanding of what the future might hold for them. Helping a child make sense of their life experiences is very important work, and it's one of the reasons why I do what I do here at COBYS. It takes one caring, invested person to foster resiliency in the life of a child. A COBYS worker can be that person, that connection for a child, and change their lives forever. I've been around long enough that children I've worked with when they were 5, 6, 7 years old are now grown up. And I've been lucky enough to have our paths cross again, and I see the difference that was made in their lives. I've seen kids who are weighed down with guilt, feeling if it was their fault they were placed into foster care, realize there wasn't anything that they did, and it wasn't their fault, and they were freed from that. I wouldn't be part of an organization for almost 20 years if I didn't believe not only in what we do, but that we do it very well.
Wow. Melanie's reflections illustrate the importance of the services our adoption staff members provide. Let's take a look at some specific examples of how we actually deliver these services.
Hi, I'm Morgan Adams, adoption caseworker at COBYS. Over this past year, we've had many video calls, but whenever possible, I've enjoyed meeting with children and families outside and in local parks like this, where social distancing guidelines are easily followed. Part of my job is completing child preparation services, where I work with children and families to help them understand foster care and their potential permanency options. I cover topics including safety, transitions, adoption, as well as the child's feelings regarding their future. Children are given a voice through child-centered activities and creative outlets. One of my favorite parts of child prep is helping kids create a life book which documents their stories in an age-appropriate manner. I'm currently working with a younger girl who will be moving. We've been able to process her story through baking and arts and crafts, and she's verbalized her desire for permanency. Since she'll be moving, I've helped her create her life book, which will also move with her into her next home.
Hi, I'm Stacy LaBarbera, an adoption coordinator at COBYS Family Services. One of my duties includes working with our post-perm families. We offer support and hope to adoptive families by offering guidance, validation, and creatively troubleshooting obstacles to family sustainment. We can expand a family's network of resources and supports and facilitate family bonding activities, marital enrichment activities, as well as self-care. Post-permanency is a family-referred service that is free and short-term and designed to meet the needs of everyone in the family after an adoption or guardianship has been finalized. We can provide case advocacy, respite services, as well as support groups. We understand the challenges that come with adoption, but we also understand the opportunities that can flourish if a family receives the supports that they need. A testament to this is a family that recently received post-permanency through COBYS. The family consisted of a husband, a wife, and their 2 adopted children, one of which had significant special needs. It became clear early on that the marriage had been fractured, and the parents were not on the same page when it came to parenting their children. Our caseworker worked with the family to stabilize the child and get him the mental health treatment that he needed. After that, the family focused on reconnecting as a couple with much encouragement from the caseworker. After a while, they decided to attend a marital retreat, which was incredibly helpful, and they also began to focus individually on self-care. After about a year of service, it was very evident that they were reconnecting as a couple. They were seeing eye to eye in the ways that they should be parenting their child, and they were presenting as a unified team. They were rejuvenated and ready to tackle all of the stressors that came with being parents of an adopted child. Their story was a true success story, and we were proud of them for all of the progress and hard work that they did.
Hi, I'm Kayla Ressler, an adoption caseworker from COBYS. One service that we provide through the Pennsylvania Statewide Adoption and Permanency Network is child-specific recruitment. This service is available to any child or sibling group who are in need of a permanent family. We meet with each of our children on a monthly basis in order to get to know them and to understand their desires for permanency and a family. Our goal is to find a family who will provide that child with permanency through adoption or permanent legal custodianship. We can also utilize child-specific recruitment to identify supportive connections for older teens. To determine if a family is the right fit for a child, we go through an interview process to learn more about them. Once a family is identified, we help facilitate pre-placement visits in order to help the family and child build their relationship and prepare for the move. Child-specific recruitment is a service that requires a lot of patience because there's a lot of steps in the matching process. Our goal is to ensure that the family is the best suited for that child and that they're prepared to commit to permanency and forever for that child. Here's one of my kids who's currently waiting for his permanent family. Aiden is 10 years old and wants to join a family who is caring, loyal, and not too strict. He would love a family who would play video games with him, spend time with him outside, and rock out to Kids Bops in the car. Aiden wants families to know that he always tries to be a positive kid and never backs down from something fun. His goal for this year is to find his adoptive family, and we're working hard to make that happen through child-specific recruitment.
Certainly a key vital component in the care of these families and children is the resource families. We couldn't help kids without them. We ask resource parents to take children into their home, fostering connections with them in the intention of adoption if that is the permanency plan for the children, while also knowing that the children may be returned to their biological parents if reunification can occur. We recognize just how stressful these, at times, opposing goals can be. And yet resource families continue to offer their love and support.
Hi, I'm Sharon Kingsley, Resource Home Supervisor at COBYS Family Services. Our unit recruits, trains, and certifies foster and adoptive families. We help our resource families understand how the Ministry of Foster Care is as much for the birth families as it is for the children. Our goal is to equip resource parents with the insights and unique skills they need to be successful as they create a healing environment for children and pursue healthy relationships with birth families. We also adapt to the changing needs for the kinds of children who enter the foster care system. Recently, an increased need has developed for families who are open to fostering older children. 6 years old and up is considered older, and sibling groups. We want older children to be able to be in a consistent family setting instead of a group home with staff changing shifts every 8 hours. And we want brothers and sisters to be able to live with each other during the time they cannot live with their parents. We ask all our families to consider how they can meet this need and have offered new training and services for them. As you know, the calling to become a resource family is not entered into lightly. It involves commitment, sacrifice, self-reflection, and willingness to learn and grow. We believe these families need and deserve all the care and support we can give them as they encounter challenges during their journey. We know that the foster care system is far from perfect, but it wouldn't be possible without resource parents willing to wade into the aftermath of the trauma experienced by children and their birth families. Resource parents help children believe that they are worthy of love and protection, and they encourage birth parents towards growth and healing. This daily investment by resource parents has an eternal impact.
To help you understand a bit more about the decision-making process to become a resource family, we spoke with Caleb and Lindsay Steiger about their journey with foster care and adoption. Caleb and Lindsay, who have 3 biological children, became resource parents from a shared desire to care for others.
Their son Joel was placed with the family in December of 2017. And when JC, Joel's younger biological brother, was born in November of 18 and also needed a placement, he joined the family as well. The placement of both boys, bringing the total of children to 5, meant a very full household. But Caleb and Lindsay understood the importance of biological siblings having a connection to one another. Here's more from Caleb and Lindsay from an interview about their experience.
So what is it that prompted us to do foster care? Well, we love family. I mean, we are passionate about our family. Family's really important. Going into it, our hope was like we wanted to help other families. That was kind of our focal point. Was we felt like we were at a place where we could maybe help another family. Things seemed stable enough in that moment for us that we were like, maybe we could, help out another family so that they could have wholeness, because we felt like we were experiencing wholeness.
We always kind of talked about it, not necessarily like we were zeroed in on foster care, but even like the early years of our marriage, just kind of having a vision of that, like helping other kids, other families, kind of extending out, if we felt like we were in a position that we were able to do that. We're attracted to that model of foster care to try to reunify children with their birth parents.
We did go into it with a different mentality of it wasn't necessarily to grow our family, but we were open to it. I think we went into it thinking like, we're here to help. Like, let us help you. And like looking back, it's like that was actually not that you aren't helping, but in kind of like a reverse way, I think we thought maybe it was more about us than it was, that we were able to help, which of course you are helping. But I think maybe when we first started, we might have had just maybe a tish of like hero complex. I don't know how to make it sound so that it doesn't sound harsh, but I think the sooner that you realize that it is not about you, it took us, or maybe just me, time, like longer for that to kind of get through, that this isn't really about you. It's about the kids, and it's about their biological families. And I think that can actually really take some stress away, because I think we can carry a burden about feeling like you should be, helping more or whatever. But it's like they need Jesus. They don't necessarily just need me, because you're going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes, but Jesus is enough to cover that. Yeah, when you realize that it's not necessarily about you, you're able to put much more focus on the kids and their families, because you don't have to be the hero, because there already is one. Some of the challenges, having the boys come from hard places, they have, some hard things that they're dealing with. So figuring out how to parent children that have come from different places, but still relatively fair, without them knowing that they're being parented differently, if that makes sense. That is really hard to know. For this child, we would not allow you to do that. But for this one, knowing what's going on a little bit more, the background of, we got to let this slide, and that's just not always fair, but I'm sorry. That's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, just reflecting on the beginning, like when we were doing fostering, and just the logistics of, balancing schedules of kids at home and going to visits in a county that's a neighboring county that's not close, and, figuring all of that out. So we reflect on that sometimes, just how, we were provided for. We didn't have all the answers when we stepped into that, but, we got through that season, and there's always new challenges ahead. But one of the things that we struggle with too is, again, something that's probably natural as you expand and grow your family, is just having enough of yourself, or both of us as parents, to go around with all of the kids, and feeling like, if one kid's needing a lot of attention or our time and resources, that you're letting the other kids, you're not giving them what they need, and not having that close relationship with them. So that's something that we always try to be intentional about. It's not we don't have it figured out yet, but that's one of the things that's been a challenge for us, is just having enough for us to go around and fill up our kids.
The most rewarding pieces of doing foster care and adoption, well, of course, meeting our boys, loving our boys. I think we can really live in this bubble, where things for us are relatively stable, that it's easy to kind of forget that there is a lot of other people experiencing a different reality that isn't necessarily stable, which might seem hard, but it's not, which it is, but I would so much rather know, right? And know how you can help or be a part of that. It's been rewarding to see our kids, like our biological kids, which are the older three, just learn a lot more of life outside of themselves. I mean, seeing your kids just love is really rewarding. And I would say too, for me, and I mean for you too, I've had a little bit more interaction, but meeting our boys' mom, we call her their first mom, or she's their first mom. So that's just rewarding. I don't know. I just feel like my heart will always be tied to her, whether she knows that or not.
I think it's rewarding anytime you see your kids make progress in certain areas, and there's been plenty of challenges, but I think it's rewarding to see the little things. Like both Joel and JC kind of carry it's like a light kind of that's attractive to people, and it's just really neat to see them interact and bring smiles to other people in the midst of, not an easy beginning of their life. And just to see them kind of in a healthy spot and kind of, just really enjoy being around each other has been pretty special. And we like to do simple things as a family, nothing too extravagant. I mean, little vacations here and there. We went on a great vacation last summer that was really neat for our family, just to be on our own and have, a spot at a lake down in Virginia for a week, and just really had some good time connecting with the kids and making memories. And so that was exciting for us. But we like to go on hikes. We like to get outside. Anything that allows the kids to get rid of high levels of energy in short amounts of time is really good for us.
Yeah, we have, campfires out by the creek. Watching the sunset is one of our favorite things. It's just kind of one of those moments that you just gets you, through the next day sometimes. Playing, we just play. We get like some pretty serious soccer games or kickball games going. It's like, just stop parenting and just play. Just have fun.
But to be in a strong place in your relationship with your spouse before you enter into that, just knowing that there's going to be challenges, and you don't have to be in a perfect place, because if you were waiting for that, you probably wouldn't take the step to get into foster care. But to be in a solid place and just have realistic expectations that you're going to need to remind yourselves that you're on the same team and working towards the same objective in the midst of, stress and tough days.
I think God doesn't show us the big picture right away, because it would be too much. Like, the hard would be too hard to fathom how you'll get through it, and the good would be too good to really imagine. Try to not go down the bunny trail of what it's going to feel like if they leave, or how are we going to do it if they stay, It's just one step at a time, because the Lord provides exactly what you need in the season that you are in. Usually unexpectedly, in unexpected ways. When we first started, we weren't exactly sure, which way we wanted to go, but I remember talking to someone from church who also had done foster care, and I think I asked them, like, how did you choose where to get plugged in at? And he said, well, what's your reasoning for doing it? And ours was, I mean, we love Jesus, and we see how he has helped us, and as an overflow of just graciousness to him, you know, we want to spread what he's given us to, you know, help others. And so he's like, okay, so your reason is Jesus, so really getting plugged in with an organization that really, you know, kind of centers on Christ's love for others would make sense. And I said, yeah, that does make sense. Really, none of my friends or our family could understand just like how that was hard. But man, I talked to Heather, and she was even like, hey, let me get you connected with this person. They've walked through it, and then you guys can connect and figure it out. And it's like, it was just medicine to really a unique heartache that was just something I wasn't quite prepared for. But
we've been very pleased with COBYS, and just along the way, just walking us through all the new steps. Yeah. And I wasn't at all the visits up in Berks County or court hearings or whatever, but when we were there, if things were, you know, a little bit out of our comfort zone, there was always somebody from COBYS there that we were familiar with to kind of talk us through and explain things, and just be there to listen to whatever challenges we were going through. So we, you know, talk often about our experience, and for people that are considering it, definitely recommend COBYS.
Yeah. Hands down. I mean, I feel like if anyone brings up COBYS, I'm like, oh, I love COBYS. Because, I mean, it can feel, I mean, not a lot of our friends have done foster care and adoption. It can feel kind of lonely. It's a unique set of challenges for us in parenting, or even just what our family, you know, encounters. It's different. It can feel lonely, because even our extended family doesn't always understand. But man, like, I just know, talking to someone at COBYS, it's like clicked right in, like they get it, they're understanding. And sometimes I just want to call and we're not even active foster parents right now. And I just like, can I just talk to someone at COBYS? You can do that.
Absolutely.
We thank the Steiger family for participating in the banquet this evening and sharing their story. Our resource families have similar, yet uniquely personal stories of their discernment to this calling. Who knows? Perhaps someone watching tonight, or someone you know, may be currently pondering becoming a resource family. We invite anyone with those inklings to connect with us to learn more. With all the uncertainty and economic turmoil the pandemic has brought, the need for resource parents has never been greater. We also thank our staff who appeared in tonight's banquet. We are happy to share these glimpses into the work we do and the people who do that work.
COBYS Family Services connects with the community by providing professional human services in the fields of foster care, adoption, counseling, and family life education. COBYS works hard to foster a culture of cooperation and care for our clients and each other. The work of COBYS is serious. It is challenging. It is sometimes messy. It is often heartbreaking. But it is necessary and honorable and life-altering. COBYS employees work hard at hard work, and we care for each other and help each other with that work. And we could not do this work without you, our supporters.
Quite simply, we could not afford to do the work we do in the manner that we do, fostering all these connections, without you, our generous friends, connecting to us and those we serve through your financial support. We mentioned at last year's banquet that we know each day the phone is going to ring with a request for assistance, and that we will answer this call, since doing so is our mission. Little did we know when I said that the very next day social distancing would go into effect because of the pandemic and the methods through which COBYS and its dedicated staff deliver services would change. What did not change and never will is the need for our essential work and the dedication and compassion with which our essential frontline staff provide them. Many of us have been challenged this last year to examine what it means to connect with one another, to have compassion and understanding for those in our family and those in our community, many with different life experiences, but all still God's children. We hope that as you have examined connections in your life, where you invest your resources, that COBYS Family Services and those we serve with personal, not cookie cutter, care remain important to you. We have seen incredible generosity from many of you since we last hosted our banquet, for which we are so grateful. And yet, the need for these financial resources continues to be great as the world of foster care and adoption service delivery is in a time of change and uncertainty. This means that the funds we receive from individuals and families, like those of you watching, are even more important now. Your donations are critical because they bridge the gap between the county and state funds we receive for services and what we know it takes to deliver the care we provide. Many of you have already given generously to COBYS through this virtual banquet by purchasing a banquet bag for you and friends and family, or by providing a donation. Thank you. We hope the deeper look at the connections we provide and strive to provide for our clients and with our staff have been meaningful to you. We encourage you to respond with a gift, investing in this work. If you feel so called, please go to cobys.org/banquet2021 and click on the donate button. Make a gift by credit card or send a donation by check to COBYS Family Services, 1417 Oregon Road, Leola, Pennsylvania, 17540.
We're going to end this evening, as we typically end our banquets, showing you why we do what we do, showing you some photos of the kids and families we serve. But before we do that, I would like to share an observation about COBYS that gives you one more picture of the organization you have chosen to support. In a meeting with outgoing COBYS Board President Wilbur Rohr, I asked him if he had any observations to share about COBYS as his tenure on the board was ending. Now, for those of you who don't know Wilbur, he has been in business for a long time. He has a lifetime of experiences. He has run businesses, served on boards, committees, and has had numerous roles with his church and other organizations in the community. So I was pleasantly surprised and grateful to hear him say, after he thought for a little bit, that the staff at COBYS is as committed to the cause as any organization he has been associated with. We believe the commitment of our staff comes from their calling to support our mission. We hope that you hear the call as well and join us in any way that you can. Here is why we do what we do. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for your support for the mission of COBYS Family Services. Good night, and drive safely.